Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanine. So today we're going to start off with a little bit of XRP news, but more than that, we're going to rip the veil off of the banking system because we found some stuff, more stuff to give to you. We've been telling you for almost a year, actually a little over a year now, that the banking system is finished. I'm at the point right now with what I've been reading as of late where I don't feel that we're just congealing with them anymore. I feel we're going to take over completely after what stands to happen. And like I said, we've been telling people, warning them about the bleeding out banking system for over a year. But after what's going to occur or what could possibly occur in the coming year, maybe the next 2 years, there will be no one left that will trust the banking system with their money. This is what people are not anticipating. But we're going to get into that. We're going to give you a good one today. So if you can, I would appreciate it if you click that little like button down below. Listen, I put out a special video yesterday in the members only section. Hit that little join button down below. It keeps the channel alive. I greatly appreciate every single person that does. And then you can go enjoy that video and some of the members only content. Let's jump in right here. We have a lot to cover today. So this is from U.Today. An amount of 40,614,705 XRP worth $19,293,663 was transferred from the crypto exchange Bitstamp to an unknown wallet. Another 30 million XRP worth $14 million was transferred from an unknown wallet to Bitstamp. Regarding XRP movement, Ripple notes in its Q3 2022 report that 3 billion XRP were released out of escrow at 1 billion per month, following previous orders and the official escrow agreement. Throughout the quarter, 2.1 billion XRP in total was returned and subsequently placed into new escrow contracts. Listen, a lot is going on with XRP. XRP, XLM, and Algorand are in such an insane position. And after I tell you this little banking news that we're going to cover, you're going to understand why. We are the new system completely. We're not just a new financial system as a layer. Like I said, I believe we're going to absorb the entirety of the banking system. They're doing a terrible job. Did you listen to, and this is why I tell people it's important to keep up with monetary policy. Understand, linguistic usage also. Did you hear what Christine Lagarde was saying when she just had her conference, right? She made that big speech. Their monetary policy doesn't seem to be changing. There doesn't seem to be any solutions on the table other than the new financial system, which means what? They're going to have to use us. They're going to have to run to us. That money has to flood through us for everyone to survive. At this point, the bank coins are the only answer. They literally have no answers. They will talk all day about SWIFT, and nobody's using SWIFT anymore. Nobody's going to use SWIFT. The BRICS nations are taking over. Everybody hates SWIFT. Everybody hates the US dollar. That's just the way that it is. So a new system has to come into play, right? Then you have a liquidity crisis everywhere in the world. Now, there's a lot to be said about why, and we'll go over this in a moment, why there's a liquidity crisis in every place. They're all admitting to it, except for the USA. Come on now. But we know how information is controlled in certain regions. They're just not letting it get out. They have the same issue. They have the same problems. They all run their monetary policy almost the exact same way. They just click and copy and paste from whatever the Fed is doing. And the Fed has absolutely no idea what it's doing. But you know what the people tell me out in the world? They tell me, they say, hey, Alphanine, don't worry about it. The banks have it figured out. And I'm telling you, listen to me. I'm showing you documents. I'm telling you what I've discovered. I've been researching. I'm telling you that they don't have to hold your money anymore. They're not obligated to keep all of your money there if you ever needed it, if there was an emergency. And that's another problem. That everything right now has been allowed to come to a point where any myriad of catastrophes could happen at any moment. They created the environment for that. They created the environment for that. The commodities are in jeopardy. That's number one. Commodities are in jeopardy. So the flow of products that you need, the flow of food that you need, that's not guaranteed anymore. That's just one thing. Oil, that's another thing. Energy. That's still the biggest sector of energy, whether it's oil, crude, or coal. There's a problem with that. Okay, so that's not guaranteed. So your energy is not guaranteed. Your food is not guaranteed. Then, okay, so let's go to bank accounts. That's not guaranteed. We'll get to that in a moment. But, like, see, you understand. You, everyone out there, you understand. The people out there, they don't understand. So anyway, yeah, circling back around, they say, hey, Alfani, don't worry, the banks, they haven't figured out. Don't worry, they've been doing this. They know what they're doing. No, they don't. No, they don't. It's alarming. I'm ringing the alarm. Hey, it's getting to a very, very bad point. Let's continue on here, though. Like the stuff I'm reading, you got to understand. This has got me very, it's just twofold thing. One, the people who are invested in the new financial system, they might, if everything goes according to plan, and it looks like it is, they might be coming by way of generational wealth greater than what they even thought, because who could ever think that they will be literally the entirety of the system? Not just a layer, they might be the entirety of the system. I mean, do your own research. Today, this is an article here. Ripple CTO claims XRP is performing in line with Bitcoin and Ethereum. These comparisons, the purpose, let me say this, the purpose that XRP, XLM, Algorand stand to serve, HBAR, stand to serve is so important for the survival. Let me make this clear. The absolute survival of the people on this planet, being able to move capital back and forth and live in a way that is similar to what they're doing now in the future is so important to that it's just going over most people's heads. They don't even see what's to come. They still believe that the world is going to continue to spin the way it always has. They don't understand the law of rhythm. The pendulum swings equally to the left as it does to the right. Well, it's already went to its peak. It's got to swing the other way, and it is. Opposites can be reconciled, right? So there's a middle point. There's a meeting point. Everything is going in the opposite direction, but the people, I don't know. One will be wise to prepare. That's all I know. Hey, you do what you want to do. It says, after a disgruntled investor called the cryptocurrency price a disgrace, because the person doesn't understand. This is the long game. XRP, XLM, Algorand, not here for your short-term, like short-term explosions and, like how the meme coins do, how you just saw a Dogecoin do. There's no solid catalyst for that. Why? Because Elon is doing something. Maybe that leads to something. Maybe it doesn't. But that's not what the bank coins are. No. And get your money, make your money where you can. But these are not that. So don't look for the immediate price. You will be foolish to do so. You're just telling me you didn't do any research on these things. There's a timeline on these things. 3 to 5 years, take even longer. That's up to you whether you want to wait on it or not. That's not up to anyone else. You have to make your own decisions. But they're not that. So price is a disgrace? No, it's not. They've been setting up infrastructure all along the way, bringing in giant partnerships that none of your other cryptocurrencies could even match along the way. And maybe it happens because of all of that and all of the institutions, that haven't even gotten in yet, that will jump in when the case is over, and all the ones that sign MOUs, memorandums of understanding, all the ones that sign NDAs, maybe with them all coming in all at once, when the case is over, maybe that's your flip of the switch moment. But then again, you have a lot of people who are jumping in, they're so money hungry and blinded by greed. They don't see that. So this is why also you see this explosion of the pushing of new meme coins, new useless, pointless cryptos. You're seeing them getting pushed everywhere. I found the next 2000x Hedera. I mean, maybe you did. But the bank coins are not that. We have nothing to do with that. Don't expect those types of pump and dump things going on over here. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because most of them are not going to move off of retail. They're not made for retail. But let's continue on here. It says the Ripple executive has noted that one's perception of XRP's price performance depends on a specific time frame. Exactly. Anyway, let's move on from this nonsense here because I want to get to that banking information, honestly. So then we also have this here with a Rosie Rios, who obviously anywhere that she speaks, she's going to bring in new eyes that could bring in new business, new partnerships. These are called catalysts. People have to understand that. If you're talking about the big money, you have to know about catalysts. It's the same way you make money off of oil. It's the same way you make money off of commodities. It's the same way you make money off of FX. You need catalyst. This is how you get in early, and then you make money as everything goes up because no one else is doing that. You know, it says, we're excited to have at Rosie Rios as our closing keynote speaker. This is from the National Council for Social Studies, as chair of at America 250, National's semi-quintessential celebration of its founding. She'll discuss this important historical event and share how educators can get involved. They're also going to say, well, Rosie, we know, your background of having signed the most currency in the United States history. We'd like to know what you're doing now. And Rosie Rios will say to a lot of that big money in that room, I'm working with Ripple right now. And if they don't know Ripple, which most of them probably do, they're going to say, what's Ripple and why is Rosie working with them? I need to look into them. They're going to have their advisors. They're going to have their secretaries or whoever look into Ripple, and that can bring more business. These types of things are always good. In my humble opinion, that's how I look at it. All right. Now we're going to go on to this here. This is in correlation to mainly Algorand because they're going to have this individual as a speaker at Decipher 2020. But it also affects all of the bank coins. We're about to take over. Just my humble opinion, no guarantees, but we're about to take over. It's over. It's over for the banking system. Everyone has been affected so deeply in the past. And, I think mainly people in the deep West, right? Like the United States. I think there are only people that are still holding on to that hope that the banks know what they're doing. Canada has felt how the banks can shut you down and how the banks control your money and how the banks will, just stop everything if they should choose with your money that you work for, you sweat and bled and cried for. Parts of Europe have felt it. Australia definitely has felt it. New Zealand has felt it. Remember, all their banks got shut down by a glitch, right? And also a lot of them have been hacked also. We read articles on that. China is feeling it right now. So almost the entirety of the world, and do we really have to go to Latin America? They already know. But almost the entirety of the world does not trust the current banking system. So they're going to need alternate systems. What better alternate is there going to be than any offering that is on XRPL, Stellar, Hedera, Cello, whichever way, that allows you to have an account that's similar to a bank account, but without but you're self-custodying your own money, but still you can move that value around better than a bank account. You have more access. You can even do cross-border payments almost for nothing. The people of the world will grasp onto that, especially with what is to come. Now, how does that relate to what I want to talk about here now? Well, let's read this little tidbit here. This article is titled, EU Politician Eva Kylie's conversion to crypto. Now, there's an important part to this that lets you know that we're going to dominate when it comes to Europe. This is the vice president of European Parliament. Now, listen to this little tidbit here. European parliamentarian Eva Kylie's conversion to cryptocurrency came as she watched her friends lose their life savings in the fallout of the global financial crisis, which is still happening. It's still happening. They put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. I told you that, didn't I? I told you they had the illusion of liquidity, didn't I? I say these things from research. I'm not just talking off the top of my head. I'm telling you from things I read that you can read as well. That's why research is important. So we know. There's no guessing. We know. The crunch came between the 2012 Cypriot financial crisis, when Cypriot banks collapsed and a levy was imposed on many depositors to fund the resulting bailout. A levy was imposed on many depositors. Who else had a crisis recently, but they were helped out of that crisis? I don't know. Which banks? Which banks was it? Almost all the banks in the West. What was the issue? CDOs. CDOs. Yeah. Right? And a certain central bank had to swoop in and save them because they were too greedy. Let me read the rest of this here. We're going to dive into this here. The crunch came during the 2012. Okay, so we read that part. Quote, here's a quote. This is a quote from Eva Kaili, Vice President of the European Parliament. Things are about to change. Onyx voice. Sticky fingers in particular. Things are about to change. Quote, lots of my friends lost their savings because banks suddenly shut down. We've been seeing that over the last year. And they don't have to be permanent to be devastating to you. I mean, who's to tell when you have to pay a bill or you need money crucially, especially in a crisis? Well, Canada shut down because, oh, well, these people felt this type of way. We don't agree with them. We're shutting them down. Shut them down. China shut their people down. Australia shut their people down. New Zealand shut their people down. ATMs were shut down. Come on, like this is a recurring theme. And not to mention the bank runs that happened during the, over here. A lot of banks closed their doors at that time as well. They didn't have the capital. They shut down the ATMs. Who's trusting them? Better prepare. You better prepare. I can't tell you what to do, but I always take precautionary measures. I don't have love for these institutions, nor do I trust them. I just want to take the money from them so we can use it in a way that is good for us, because we know we have our best interests at heart, but they don't. As they have proven, or they would have protected their customers, but they did not protect their customers. Let's continue on here. Let's finish this quote. It's got me fired up. Just bear with me. Quote, lots of my friends lost their savings because banks suddenly shut down and nobody would guarantee their life savings. Now, this is going to happen in a lot of different places. Everything that the people trust right now for their retirement and such like that, all these traditional legacy system offerings are in jeopardy. Most of them. You know what I'm talking about. It says, quote, so this is like a quick shock, end of quote. It says, and then I thought, okay, here's another quote. And then I thought, okay, so if this system couldn't protect us, we cannot restore trust. We have to have alternatives. This is what I just said. We have to have alternatives so that the system itself will start improving the options of the citizens. And so I started exploring decentralization. Talk. It's our time. It's our time. They let their system fall. That's on them. That's what ignorance does. It lets the systems fall. They have no one to blame but themselves. So don't get mad at us because we're telling the truth. Yes, I saw the memo that went out also from the banks to certain entities and such like that about the information that's coming out about the banks. I saw it. Yeah. Don't be mad at us. We're telling the truth. This is an exact quote from the vice president. When we read documents, we're going by the documents that you put out. So anyway, let's continue on here. There's so much happening. That's another thing. Like I said in another video, they want to shh everybody. Anybody that's telling the truth, that is. Anyway, today, Kylie is among the most outspoken proponents for cryptocurrency adoption and blockchain technology on the European political stage. Once again, let me say this is the vice president of European Parliament who will be attending the cipher at Algorand. It has a good relationship with Algorand. This speaks volumes. Let me shake my shoulders, shimmy shake one time. It feels so good to be right. And it feels good to help at the same time. You see, the truth is like a horrible tasting medicine. You see, you can take the sugar-filled medicine, but that might not help you that much. But the nasty raw one that's potent, it don't taste good, but it's going to save your life. That's how the old school people used to say. And it's true. I like that. It's true. I'm here to give you the medicine that doesn't taste good, but it's going to be good for you in the long run. So, in the end, who will be the most trusted The bank coins, who will be the most regulated? The bank coins, who will be the ones that the banks, if they're smart and wise, will institute these systems now, which will result in generational wealth. Who will be the ones that the people will trust the most? The bank coins, because they are alternatives that even the banks need. They're not going to trust Shiba Inu Mom's coin. They're not going to trust that, okay? My humble opinion. So now let's move on to here. We got a lot to go through here. I'm gonna really lay it out here, I believe. This article here is on Forbes and it's titled, China is suffering a major financial crisis. I've been giving you little pieces here and there. We've delved into so many banking documents, so many interviews, so many transcripts. They just put out the transcript also. If you don't want to listen to that podcast where Christine Lagarde was talking about monetary policy, they put out the transcript so you can read it on the ECB website. Okay? But we talked recently even about the United States and how they're in contention with China. And they pulled out a lot of their brilliant scientists and engineers and everything that were working on certain mechanisms that were crucial for China's industry. They pulled them out and now China is going to suffer because of that. Not only that, so you have that. Then you have the whole Evergrande type situation going on over there, right? So, and then you have the banking issue. My goodness, so let's read this a little bit here. It says, China's financial crisis is getting worse. In this latest phase, Chinese banks anticipating huge loan losses. They're not the only ones. They're not the only ones. But we'll get into that. Can anybody tell me what's a CLO? Can anybody tell me what's the big difference between a CDO, which was the problem before in the United States? What's the difference between a CDO and a CLO? How have they been treating CLOs? Have they learned from their mistakes with CDOs? You think that they learned from their mistakes? I don't think so. China's financial crisis is getting worse. In this latest phase, Chinese banks, anticipating huge loan losses, have taken dramatic steps to enhance their loan loss reserves, tapping China's bond markets for some 30% more funds than they did last year. The bank's problems are hardly a surprise. Of course, no, they're not. To any researcher, no, they're not. But then again, let's add on that the financial problems that are to come in the United States are not a surprise to any researcher. To researchers, the European banking problems right now are not a surprise to any researcher. The China problems are not any breaking news to any researcher. No, we're reading factual evidence every single day. And if you just stand objectively, you can see what is to come. Let's continue on here. Tapping China's bond markets for some 30% more fun. Who else has been tapping the bonds? I don't know. I don't know. My mind's a little foggy today. The bank's problems are hardly a surprise. They are, in fact, just another step in the metastasizing. Look how they say that. Metastasizing. They use that word for a reason. It has spread out like a cancer. All of this type of behavior, this monkey see, monkey do behavior, they all try to follow in the footsteps of the Fed. They all copy the Fed. They're like the Fed-like version of the Fed, all of these different central banks. And the Fed made a misstep, a lot of them. And so them cheating off of the test of what they thought was the smart kid, they all put the wrong answer. They all made the same misstep. You get where I'm going with this? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. And we have a lot of brilliant minds on this channel, especially in the members only section. They could correct me in the comment section. I'm always open for dialogue, especially in the members only section. By the way, click that little join button down there. Support the channel because it keeps the channel alive. So I can do this here and bring this to you. Now, the bank's problems are hardly a surprise. They are, in fact, just another step in the metastasizing crisis that began over a year ago when the huge property developer, oh, here you go with Evergrande announced that it could no longer support some $300 billion in liabilities. Back then, Beijing clearly failed to comprehend, because I told you, these central bank heads across the board, they're very lazy. That's why they fail to understand, because they don't want to read through the documents. They don't want to look at the statistics. They don't want to look at what is to come. They don't want to think about it. They're just hoping that everything continues as it did when their predecessors were in office. But unfortunately, someone was going to have to deal with the problems, and the people don't have the right ones in place right now to deal with those problems clearly. Let's continue on here. It says, clearly failed to comprehend what was going on, or what was going to happen, and refused to act promptly. That's what I'm saying about the United States Fed right now. They're not acting promptly. 75 basis points. The people are about to feel the pain. Believe me on this. Unless they do something, they can take it. There's a pathway they can take. But they haven't shown that they're willing to do it yet. So the pain is yet to come. But let's continue on here. Or completely enough to stop the spreading series of failures that has characterized Chinese finance. You did see them shut all those banks, right? You saw them shut the people out of the banks. They couldn't get their money. Those banks just closed down, literally. Those people are never getting their money back. This is not going to be isolated unless there are preventative measures taken in the West. It will spread to the West. And they can take preventative measures, that's what I'm saying, but they need to do it now. We'll keep our eyes open and see if they do. Great. If they do, great. Because we don't want people, the innocent people of these lands, to be suffering. It's not their fault. However, I always would caution trusting these types of entities that, I would caution trusting them. Just simple as that. But we want the people to thrive. So hopefully they do. But if they don't, then if the people are wise, this should be a great lesson to them to custody your own money, put in your own work, protect yourself. Don't expect anybody else to protect you. Protect yourself at all times. Life is like a boxing match. Keep your guard up and protect yourself at all times. I don't care who you are. Keep your guard up and protect yourself at all times, especially in these financial markets. The bank coin are going to dominate. We are the only solution. We have on-demand liquidity. We can create the biggest liquidity pool. Repetition is the mother of learning. We can create the biggest liquidity pool. Who are they going to go to other than us? Who are they going to trust more than us? Anybody. Now let's go here. All right, let's continue on here. Here's an article, and it's titled, CLO activity skyrockets. Wait. But CDOs are so similar to CDOs are so similar to CLOs. And there was a problem with CDOs and them being greedy with that. But now they're being greedy with CLOs. So theoretically speaking, the same problem is going to occur. They changed nothing. But let's read this a little bit here. The U.S. collateralized loan obligation market enjoyed a banner year in 2021. This is in 2021. Now in 2022 is even bigger. But let's continue on here. Banner year in 2021 as a combination of Federal Reserve stimulus and investor focus on yield pushed issuance to record levels. Record levels. According to DebtWire, PAR, the issuance of new CLOs in the U.S. more than doubled year on year, coming in at U.S. $184 billion. Refinancing and reset issuance posted significant gains as well, with refinancing climbing U.S. $21.2 billion to U.S. $111.8 billion, while resets jumped from U.S. $10.6 billion to U.S. $125.8 billion during the same period. This is nuts. And the people believe they know what they're doing? What? Oh, the unprecedented, this is their words, levels of CLO activity proved a major contributor to the tightening loan pricing backdrop observed through the course of the year. Ravenous, look at the words they're using. Words are powerful. Ravenous appetite and competition among CLOs helped to drive average margins on the first lien institutional loans down to 3.62%. compared with 3.73%. Returns and resilience. Bank of America figures quoted by the Wall Street Journal highlight why CLOs have been so attractive to investors, while the U.S. Treasury bonds and investment-grade corporate bonds had delivered Total returns of minus 1.82% and 0.96% respectively. Let's scroll down just a little bit here, but you see where this is going? They're having the same problem they did before, when they had to be rescued before, and it was a financial crisis before. It's happening again. It's unbelievable what's going on and what's being allowed. And they don't talk about this on the so-called news, but they will claim that they care about the people. They don't. It's unbelievable. So I was reading somewhere that they didn't want to go over like $160 billion or something like that in CLO activity. And I believe that obviously is probably for a quarter or something like that. And they shouldn't even be reaching that close to it. But here we have an article on, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, okay? I have so much information in front of me. If I misspeak here and there, feel free to correct me. I'm open to it. I have no problems with it. It said, here we have an article that says U.S. banks grow collateralized loan obligations holdings in Q1 alone, Q1. This is in 2022, right? It says U.S. bank holding companies continue to grow their collateralized loan obligations during the first quarter of 2022, as the Federal Reserve raised federal fund rates to manage record-hitting inflation. CLO exposure rises. Here we go. In the first quarter, banks had $155 billion in CLOs in the first quarter, up from 150 billion. Remember I said it was 160 billion? Look how close they're getting to it. It's up from 150 billion, right? 160 was their red line. Like, hey, you cross this, there's a problem. Look how close they're getting. It's only going up. In the fourth quarter of 2021, and 111.6 billion in the first quarter of 2021, according to S&P Global Market Intelligence data. Look how much it's increased. The amount of CLOs reported on bank balance sheets climbed in 2021 after staying relatively flat over the 3 previous years. Of course, it's skyrocketing. The surge came after an easing of Volcker Rule restrictions in October 2020, which enabled banks to expand the types of securities they can invest in. Why did they do that? There's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. They're pulling out all the stops to try to give these institutions, these ignorant, in my humble opinion, no disrespect, but these ignorantly run institutions a chance. They're giving them all, they're giving them all the little extra Uno cards. They're sliding under the table, draw 4s, draw 2s, all of that stuff. Like it's like cheating. Nobody else gets this type of help, just them. But the point is, look at how they're in jeopardy. And you mean to tell me you think that if this continues, that they're going to continue to thrive or exist the way that they do now? Everything rises and falls. Everything. The only thing that is constant is change. Always know that. Always know that. These institutions are not immortal. So it says JP Morgan Chase was the bank holding company with the most CLO exposure. Is that right? JP Morgan. You want to take a little look into their history? I mean, they talk real big, don't they? So they must have not had any major problems. Interesting. Very interesting. But everyone takes their word for everything, that there's some sort of authority. Let me tell you something. You should run your bank properly first before you speak on any of us. When it comes to the bank coins or the bank coin blockchains, DLTs, you should run your bank properly first. You have the biggest exposure. Is that so? All right. Well, let's continue on here. Oh, my goodness. This is unbelievable times we're living through. There's a financial crisis everywhere. And the people they're not seeing it. So now let's go here. OK, even Europe. I said Europe is also having their financial crisis, correct? All right. Well, here is an article from October 5th, 2022 from Reuters. And analysis. Turmoil turns the tide. Europe's banks turns the tides on Europe's banks after a long recovery. Turmoil. This is Reuters. Reuters. Everywhere we've just almost covered everywhere in the world. That's the major spots are all having a financial banking crisis at the same time. Don't you find it, once again, don't you find it suspicious that the United States is the only one saying like, oh, damn, we don't have a problem. There's no problem. They're not talking about anything. Everything's quiet. And once again, I just want to point out to the control, maybe there's a lot of control over the information that comes out. Just maybe you decide for yourself. Turmoil in markets has triggered alarm over how banks will cope, with regulators warning they could repeat some of the mistakes that led to the financial crisis more than a decade ago. Wasn't that what I was just saying? Why is that happening? Why might they repeat that same problem? As I stated earlier, they haven't changed any of the monetary policy. That's why. If you don't change your thinking and you fell in the hole one time and you don't see any other way to go around this hole. You don't think there's any problem with what you did before. Then you're going to fall in the hole again. One must change their mind before they set foot upon a new path. Europe. So there you have. So now we have Europe. We just went over Europe. My goodness. So we went Europe, China, with the CLOs and stuff like that. Majorly, they're dealing with this particular crisis in the United States right now. But look a little deeper into that CDO crisis, how it relates to CLOs, how different are CDOs to CLOs. You're going to see what's happening. It's unbelievable. This time, I don't think they're going to have a way out of it. That's why I think there's a banking crisis on the horizon, the likes of which the people haven't seen. Then you have the Credit Suisse problem that's going on. I'm sure you probably know about that, right? So they're having a massive issue. If Credit Suisse is done for at any point, and we're watching closely the development of that situation. If Credit Suisse goes down, expect a lot of other dominoes to fall. Just my humble opinion. Just my humble opinion. Oh my goodness. All right. So let's move on to some different news here. All right. I want you guys to have all of the information, and what you do with it is up to you. All right. But coming across this stuff, there's no way that I'm turning a blind eye to all of this that's happening. The new financial system looks like is imminent to rise. It's going to have to rise. It's a necessity at this point. They should not. I don't think any of the bank coins should be looked at as regular crypto. Yes, they're going to take patience, and a lot of people are not going to have that. That's just the nature of the world. As simple as that. I think everybody should be well diversified, but that's just my opinion, not financial advice. But you should be well diversified. You should have some short money plays, some long money plays, investments. You have some things you're investing in, then you have some things that you're trading in. Maybe you have something like that. You have some NFTs of different kinds. So you have that, right? You have some real estate. You can play with real estate, although that market is not doing so well right now. But let's say in the future it's doing well. You can play in real estate. Gold is always there. Gold, and I hate to keep saying it, but I don't want to say it too much. I'm going to go over this in the members only video very, very soon. But silver, that's all I'm going to say about silver. There's a reason for it, right? So you have that. You can trade currencies. You see how the dollar is crushing all the currency. All the other currencies are down. The dollar's not going to stay there forever. It's going to have to come down. When the dollar comes down, those other currencies are going to go up. You have that, right? So you have some people making money off of trading currencies. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of different ways I would diversify myself to protect myself. And what you do with the information is up to you. But anyway, and there's a lot of different ways to make money also, You don't have to limit yourself. Never feel limited. You can always learn something new. You can take a little bit of time. You have what it takes to learn something new. Don't let yourself or anyone else tell you that you don't. You can always learn something new. You can grow at any time, whether you're young or you're older. It doesn't matter. You can always grow. The growth that matters is done here. Let me say it again, all right? Because I know all these people out there, they're going to tell you different. The growth that matters is done here. Keep all of this physicality healthy, but the substantial growth is done here in the mind. In the mind, all right? You can always grow. And you are not limited. You can break through all barriers. That's just personally how I feel, all right? So now talking about, the tokenization of everything, another reason we're going to explode. And we're going to dominate. We're taking over the entirety of the world. Let's call it what it is. We are. Everything's going to flow into us. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. Everything happens in degrees. But then here's a tweet from the Bank of International Settlements, and it says this: trading in foreign exchange markets reached $7.5 trillion per day. $7.5 trillion per day. All right. Listen, everything's going to flow through us in the future. Everything's going to be on the DLTs, distributed ledger technologies, whether it's Hashgraph or blockchain. It's going to flow through us. Tokenization of stocks, tokenization of trading currencies, the tokenization of debt. Everything's going to flow through us. They've already admitted to it. $7.5 trillion per day. Who do you think they're going to trust for that type of value to flow through? Who do you think they're going to trust? They're going to trust us, the bank coins, who have vice presidents of the European Parliament coming to our Decipher 2020 event. They're going to trust us who are sitting down in meetings with the central banks. They're going to trust us who, like XDC has been having multiple of meetings with governmental officials. They're going to trust us. That value is coming to us. And they don't have a problem with us. We're green. We sit in meetings with them. We're helping them set up infrastructures. They don't have any problems with us. And what you do with that value then, if generational wealth does come, no guarantees, of course, but if it does come, what you do with your value is up to you. Live your life. Be free. Be free. Free yourself. My humble opinion. It's not an order. All right. 7.5 trillion. If we took a modicum of that, you don't think that would have an impact on the price? It definitely would. They won't stay where they are right now. Let's continue on here. I'm feeling so good today. We're covering good information. I like substance. I like powerful information, right? It feels good when I cover things like that. So just to touch on that, I was talking about trading currencies and things like that. So here's just a little bit on decentralized Forex trading, the next evolutionary step. This is on financemagnets.com. Just so I'm going to read this little tidbit. Spot Forex trading and blockchain. We're going to take everything over, I'm telling you, because we're going to save them costs. We're going to move it more efficiently. It's more secure, more transparency. We have more of everything. We are the best. Let that sink in. We are the best. DJ Khaled voice. We the best. Read this little tidbit. Trading Forex using blockchain technology has many benefits. That's what I was just saying. Trading, traditional trading platform. Sometimes I just have the headline and then I'm going to go through because it keeps it more interesting for me. But this is what I was saying. Traditional trading platforms measure the settlements in days. In days. We all know this. And it's horrible. It's trash. We don't like it. I'm a type of person. I like to live like today might be my last because I never know. It might be. So I don't want to do something and the result comes 2 days from now, a day from now, 3 days from now, 5 days. No. Let me have my result right now. Now I know not everything's going to be like that. I know that. But when it comes to technology, if there's technology available and it's dirt cheap to set up that infrastructure, let's do it so we can live a little bit better, make money a little bit faster. And they're saying that right here. That's why we're going to dominate. We're taking everything from them. And I don't feel sorry for them either. The legacy system doesn't feel sorry for anyone else. They have no mercy. I'm not going to have any mercy on my enemy. I know I talked a little fast right there, but video's getting a little bit long. So I'm trying to make sure I give you everything that I can. I'm trying to give you bang for your buck. So traditional trading platforms measure settlement in days. Using the blockchain, the time is measured in seconds. Look how they wrote it. They know it's delicious. In other words, the settlement is immediate following the trade's execution. Forex trading via blockchain also means retail traders will maintain ownership of their capital. Who doesn't want their ownership of their capital? Who doesn't want to custody their own value? And it's safer. And it's safer. I trust myself more than anyone else. I don't know about you guys. I trust myself. I don't trust those companies, right? Remember that old Tony Montana? Who do you trust? Who do I trust? Me. That's who. Me. That's who I trust. Who built this? Me. I was only kidding. Remember that scene from Scarface? Oh man, come on now. Don't tell me I'm the only one that remember that movie. Scarface. Anybody out there in my age bracket? They're like, man, Alfred, man, you make me want to watch Scarface right now. That's classic. It's classic, man. Anyway, continuing on here, man. So everything is looking good. We're going to dominate. Forex trading via the blockchain also means retail traders will maintain ownership of their capital. In an event of insolvency or should the prime brokers default, investors' funds are safe. Didn't I just say that? Didn't I just? See, when you're telling something that's factual, all the different data is going to point in the same direction. It says it is probably among the greatest benefits of adopting the blockchain for traditional trading. We're going to take them over. All those trillions and trillions of dollars worth of value will be flowing through us. It's inevitable. But see, most people, they're looking at that little tiny money. They just want that flood. And I understand it also. I also understand it. Like I said, there's harsh times going on right now. But that's why I say you have your short money plays. There's plenty of short money plays out there. But you have to determine that for yourself because short money plays obviously are extremely risky, right? But there's short money plays out there. There's a lot of different ways to make money out there. Wise to diversify. But you know, do what you want to do. My goodness, I still have like 7 articles left. I keep on doing this, but I'm having a good time. And I think that what we covered is potent here. Another thing, they're crushing the economies all at the same time. And it has to increase over time. So they're trying to put out this illusion like maybe we'll get a little dovish. Maybe we won't kill your economies and take your jobs. I've been talking about this almost for an entire year. I told people we were in deceleration in the summer. I told you this. This is my humble opinion. They were still in delusion about the governments and leaders, so-called leaders, were still delusional about, no, there's not a recession. Look at the definition of it. We're going to, wait. We see that you scratched out the definition and wrote in your own. I don't think the dictionary has scratch marks. It has other sentences scratched out of it. They try to change it, right? They're going to have to become more aggressive in order to bring inflation down. Wage growth has slowed. Wages are not going to go up like they used to, right? So they were trying to bring the wages up in order to combat inflation, which is silly. The higher wages go, that's going to make the people continue to spend money the same way. I was saying something similar to this in the members only video I released yesterday. That's a special video. Make sure click that join button down below. Click the like button also and become a member. You can watch that video. Although it's very entertaining, it had potent information in it. Very, very potent information in it. So I usually do that. I combine entertainment with information and wisdom. Right? So anyway, they're going to have to become more aggressive and people are going to lose their jobs. And when they do, they should know who to blame. Hold the so-called leaders. I have to be careful what I say because I want to still come to you on YouTube. Hold your so-called leaders accountable. Put their feet to the heat. To the heat. It's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to let them know. We want better from you. We're in charge. We're the people. But anyway, on the ECB, you have this from ecb.europa.eu. So it's their actual website. The governing council today decided to raise the 3 key ECB interest rates by 75 basis points. So there you have it. So as this continues on, obviously it's going to have its effect, right? It already has. There's been layoffs everywhere. They're not reporting on it, but we have here. We've been telling you about this. For months now, we've been covering the layoffs. Mass layoffs. As they become more aggressive, you're going to see more and more mass layoffs. Be careful of it. Know who is laying off what, especially let's say you have investments in certain companies. Be careful. I don't know if I covered this article here. Speaking of companies, China is having an issue with, I was supposed to cover this article here. Let me just see if I did or not. I don't think I did. I want to give you the accurate information so wait, you can stay in the loop. Here it is right here. Okay, so 75 basis point. So let's cover this article here about China and Apple for just as an example. So the no catalyst is to know to be careful with certain investments and such like that, right? So here's just an article. We're just going to read it to you. Major Apple supplier goes into closed loop production due to resurgence. You know what I'm talking about. In China, will it impact Q4 iPhone shipments, which then obviously if it impacts Q4 iPhone shipments, it would affect the capital that Apple is bringing in. And if it affects the capital that Apple is bringing in, would it not logically affect the stock price? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I could be completely wrong. I don't know. I don't know. You ever see that like in some of the old school shows? Like I don't know. They had the funniest stutters back then. Like when they did that to show that they really knew the answer, but they didn't really want to say it. Oh man, Apple's supply chain concentration could cause complications for Apple in the fourth quarter, analysts say. I'm not sure why, but this website is giving me a problem. It's on benzinga.com, all right? So you may be able to look it up for yourself. But that's something that I stay aware of, things like that. And I don't hold any Apple, but I'm just giving you an example. There's a lot of things happening like this. You have to know the catalyst. We're here to make money, not lose money. Know which companies are going to be laying off. Know which companies are having shipment issues and production issues. So you know how that's going to affect the price of their stock or their tokenized stock, however you trade them. You know, same thing with blockchain companies or DLT companies. Who's laying off what? Are they replacing them with somebody powerful? How's this going to affect what they're trying to deploy? How's it affect the price of whatever I'm holding? You have to stay abreast of these things, right? That's just personally how I feel. So now, we talked about this recently. Sorry about that. You know, like a little bit of dryness in my throat here. Let me get a little sip of water. Do you mind if I get just a little sip? I'm gonna sip it off camera. Don't worry, I'm gonna be respectful. Yeah. There you go. Oh man, I tried to lean over far. I don't know if I leaned over far enough off camera. This camera lens is so wide, like it just catches so much. But anyway, remember recently I said something about this when I was talking about grain, when I was talking about the shipment of commodities, and like I think it was 2 videos ago. I was saying that at any time something could happen in those particular regions over there, and it would affect the price of many things, mostly food, because that region over there that's been going to battle with the other country, they're one of the biggest grain exporters, and I think and I was saying that in a video, and then look what happens here. I said that about maybe a week ago. Look what happens right here. We're going to end off with this article, and it's titled, "Grain Market Braces for Value Leap as Black Sea Haul Halted." So that little corridor where they ship the grains out so everybody can eat, it has been halted because it was under attack. Allegedly, this is what they say, allegedly, but does it make a difference at this point? This is going to affect a lot of things. And just a lot of things have been happening like that. So you have like the OPEC stuff. They're going to cut down production, right? Then you have the problems in South America with production. They're already at max, right? Then you have the United States. Well, let's not even talk about them when it comes to oil and coal and things of that nature. Let's not even talk about that. You have certain coal shortages, right? So coal still represents a large portion of energy. You have all these problems that are just backing up. They're backing up, and nobody's talking about it. They're all quiet about it. They're worried about what the latest singer said, what this latest entertainer did. They're worried about the latest movie. They're not seeing what's happening in the world. Oh, it says here, Moscow suspended its participation within the Black Sea deal on Saturday in response to what it referred to as a serious drone assault on its fleet in the annexed region. Redacted was making an excuse for a ready exit from the accord, whereas Redacted accused Redacted of weaponizing meals. This all this hearsay back and forth. It doesn't matter. What matters to the people of the world is that food is not going to be out there. That's what the problem is. So twofold, people that need that as a food source going to be affected, and people who have investments may be affected as well. So that's something definitely to keep an eye on. I just wanted to give you an example of how these particular things work. This house of cards that the world is on right now, it definitely. The bank coins are going to take over. The DLT is going to take over. They need our traceability. They need the low fees. They need the neutrality. They need literally everything. The liquidity, they don't have it. The banks don't have it. The age of printing endless fiat is almost at an end. It's almost at an end. Just like that saying out of a Gladiator. Remember Maximus? He said to Commodus at the end of the movie, he said, how did he phrase it? Your time of marveling at yourself is almost at an end. I say that with the banking system as well. Your time for marveling at yourself is almost at an end. But the chasm that is created when a bad system goes out is not necessarily a bad thing. Something good can fill that chasm, that void. I believe it will be the new financial system. And it will bring, if everything goes according to plan, generational wealth, billionaires, millionaires. We'll see. Hopefully it continues to go according to plan. As of right now, everything is looking good. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.